Well, I'm back again. I said I was going to come back and show you how to set up the SnugPak system. I got a 4-piecer. I have the jungle hammock, I have the blanket, the under quilt, and the all-purpose weather tarp that I'm going to be putting up over it. And I got everything right here in this 25-pound bag with food and water, hiking gear, and just a little extra blanket that I like to keep there. It doesn't weigh hardly anything at all. Just one of those cooler nights when the temperatures drop a little bit below what was expected. Anyway, so without any further ado, I'm going to start filming this and put it up piece by piece. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and unpack my bag here. I like to pack this in such a way that as, like, for example, on top I got my emergency frog togs in case it starts getting wet. I pull that out, see on top. I got my cooking gear on top because I do a lot of stopping along the way. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, you want that kind of stuff on top. I kind of pack things in the order of me using them, with the exception of the shelter itself, the tarp. So I'm going to pull out my hammock quilt. I'm going to pull out my shelter, which I wrote on there just so I can identify which is which, because you see on the SnugPak jungle hammock it's not labeled, and they kind of look the same when you pull them out of the bag. And I got my under blanket. Okay, so that's it. I got my 4-piece under blanket, shelter, hammock itself, and of course the hammock quilt. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my hammock. One thing that's really nice about the SnugPak hammock is it has a kind of like a built-in pouch. This pouch is actually attached, and it comes with straps and some 550 paracord. I'm iffy about the paracord. It tends to stretch a little bit as you sleep on through the night. Last time I was in the Appalachian Mountains, I woke up and I was my rear was kind of on the ground because that kind of stretched out a little bit. I'm gonna put those over my shoulder for now. Finish taking the rest of this out. Another thing that this comes with inside of here are these little carabiners. Alright, so we're going to be using those. They're on either end of the hammock system. That's what we're going to be latching to the straps. So, I tied extra knots. They don't come like this with the extra knots. I tied extra knots into this because you're going to find out that as you hang your straps into the trees that you're going to need some varying length. So get this puppy up here, run this through. I want this strap to be on the pole, so I'm going to kind of work this around a little bit and make sure that the strap stays on the pole. Just let that hang, and we'll go over here to my other side. I'll do the same thing right here. I'll run this through. Make sure my strap stays on the pole because I don't want to fray my cordage. Grab my hammock. First thing I'm going to do is snap it on to one of these knots that I made. You have to tinker with this a second. I set mine up in advance, and I'll show you how to do this here, but this is my mosquito netting. This is just less setup time to have it pre-attached like that. I do that in advance so I don't have to spend as much time out in the woods doing that. So as you can see here, I got too much on that end. So what I'm going to do is drop it a little bit. See if that works. That might be too low. That looks like it might be just about right. And there's some play over here. If I need to go up again, which I don't think I will. So what I'm going to do then, see, I've already attached these. The wind's blowing a little bit. But you got these these rip cords that are that you run through these little loops that are sewn into the tin itself. I'm going to run this upward if I can keep this from tying itself around, which may be a delay in itself. And I'm going to just kind of loop that inside of there and just kind of let it go like that. It hangs onto itself. I'm going to do the same thing to the other end. Here's the other end. I'm going to bring this around to this side. I'm going to pop that through that little loop right there just like that and let it hang. Want to be a little bit above. Alright, so what we got here then is the hammock. This is fine on a fall day, you know, with no weather. In the woods, you got the net to keep the bugs out. But we're going to go a step farther now. Let's talk about some much colder weather. That's why we need the under blanket. We're going to be utilizing this instead of a sleeping bag. The awesome thing about SnugPak is these really neat cases that it comes with. Pull this guy out of here, and there's a lot in there. There's a lot in there. But what's neat about this is the way that it works. This does not support your body weight. It hangs loosely underneath. There's going to be 2 center cords on either end, just like this. I'm going to take these guys, bring them together. I'm going to put them in this carabiner right here. Just like that. So it's not supporting my weight. It's going to be resting on the carabiner. Pick up the other end like this. Carry it down to this end. I'm going to do the same thing. We'll bring these guys together like that. I'm going to put it inside this carabiner. Bam. Alright. These guys right here, kind of like extra support. I'm a big fan of the slip knot. So one thing I'm going to do right now, while I'm thinking about it, is slip knot this puppy right here, like this. I think that's called a slip knot, but that's going to hang, it won't come loose. Alright, and I'm going to do the same thing down this end. What you don't want to do, and people have done in the past, is set this up so that their body weight is resting on the under blanket. Don't need that. Take the contrary right now for some reason. It'll line out whenever we get inside of there. So that's hanging down loose like that. Once we get inside of here and put our weight down inside this guy, it'll work like so. Okay, so I ran this ripcord up a little bit higher and put a little tension in it to hold up the under blanket here, and it runs down both ways. I put these on here actually just so you can do something like this if you want to. You know, just kind of buttons up the hatches a little bit on either side. The hammock itself comes with these little loops here on both sides of the under blanket. But and I made this little clasp just to kind of fasten it over. Haven't used it yet, but the option's there if I want to. That being said, the next thing we want to grab then is our blanket itself. So let's get that put into. Okay, so we had to pause the video a minute ago because the battery ran out on the phone. But here I wanted to show you the hammock quilt. And once you get this other system set up right here, you just want to open this up and pull the quilt out. This is what you're going to be using instead of a sleeping bag. The awesome thing about this is, yep, there's a lot in there. It's lightweight. It's got a little spot here for your feet. So your feet go inside this, what looks like a hood because it's upside down, but your feet actually go inside of there. So this will be the top. Your feet are inside, and these little wings right here will tuck underneath you. Or you can leave them on top. It's however you want to sleep. But this is really warm. I forget what the insulation rating on this is, but I love it. I was out here this morning before the sun came up, setting this up in the dark, just practicing. And we also had some rain come in, and I had the tarp up at the time, and it proved to be effective. So I'm just going to throw this in here where my feet's going to be. And I'll get in there and a little bit later. For now, I'm just going to kind of zip that up and get it out of the way. There's a little pouch that hangs down. This also will fold up inside of here, but you can put your belongings inside of there if you want to. One thing I do when I'm camping in it is I put like my wallet and my phone and glasses in there, and kind of zip this up close to it like that, and it stays inside with me. Alright, so the very last thing we're going to put up is going to be the shelter. This is my newest addition. I like the shelter. It's got a lot of things you can YouTube, different kinds of setups. I'm not going to cover all that. That's another YouTube channel. I'm going to use one that I use the most frequent when I set up any kind of tarp, and this would be like the second or third time I've set up this tarp. But I'm only going to need a couple of these. These are lightweight aluminum, really lightweight. So if you're in a rocky area, they're likely to bend a little bit. So be careful when you stick those to the ground later on. I'll kind of set those there for a second. Now when you get this, these strings are all going to be separate. I kind of, there's little buttons so you make an emergency bivvy if you have to. Again, another YouTube video. I'm just kind of opening this up, and I have pre-attached my guy lines to the corners, so I don't have to do that when I'm out there in the woods or on the trail. You can see on the inside of here you got the tape line. All right, you want to make sure that your seam is on the inside. Okay, you don't want that out towards the weather, so we're going to put that on the inside. And we're going to find the one that runs across from corner to corner, and we're going to hang that up over here. I'm going to reach up kind of high on this one. It's kind of tight. There's no special ties on this one. You know, I just like to, you heard me earlier, kind of slip, not kind of a thing going on. Take that around, knot that together. Oh, hang on a second. Over the top, I'm going to grab the other corner where I showed you the seam. I'm going to do the same thing over on this end now. We'll kind of make that tight. There's a little bit of sag, but it will pull tight here in a second. So if I can have my camera girl swing around here to the other side real quick. I'm going to grab one of these. I'll grab them both. So I'm going to come over here because some people are confused about the way these tensioner systems work. So I'm just going to show it to you real quick here. You're going to have a setup like this when it first comes. All you got to do on this tensioner system is pull the bottom section of this loop out right here. Stick your spike in there. Kind of push it down to the ground. Now what's awesome about this is, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this tensioner with one hand and pull down on the guide line with the other hand, and with this one I'm going to pull it up. So all I'm going to do is I'm just sliding that up and creating that tension. So that's going to be nice and tight, just like that. That's all there is to it. I'm going to do the same on the other side. This looks like a pretty little spot. So again, I'm going to grab that little loop that's inside of there, just like that. Run this in, just like that. Push that down to the ground. So I'm going to grab the guide line with one hand, grab the tensioner with the other hand, and I'm going to slide it up. What it's doing now is, since it's putting some tension down on that guide line, it's nice and tight. So you're going to turn around and face over here. You can see that my hammock system is now set up. So I got a nice tight shelter above me on the inside. I can get inside of here, sit down in here, which looks kind of inviting actually. So I'm going to do that. I can set my hammocks up kind of high, because I said earlier, what they tend to do, those 550 paracords, is stretch a little bit. And looks like I have a zipper issue, but that's just on mine. I abused it at one point, so my fault. And normally I would get underneath this thing on a cold day, but it's warm out today. It was a little cooler this morning when I came out here and set this up. But I would get inside of this this guy right here, and it will keep me nice and toasty. With my feet down inside of that thing. Yeah. And I can stay out of the cold weather. I can stay out of the rain. And this will be a wrap. So see you next time.